My name's Herain Oberoi. I'm the VP for data and AI security at Microsoft, and it's my pleasure to kind of walk you through all the work that the team's been doing over the last couple of months. So let me start out with what we've been hearing from customers over the last, I would say, 2 years or so. So over the last 2 years, if you remember, we started out with a lot of work around Gen AI apps, co-pilots, things like ChatGPT, customers deploying them in the enterprise. And a lot of what we heard back in terms of security and risks was they were concerned about data oversharing and data leak. That was number one concern. Shadow AI, new AI threats like prompt injection attacks, vulnerabilities like in your supply chain, and then of course, regulatory compliance. And so what we've been doing is we've been hearing these questions from customers for the last couple of years now. And so we've been working with our security platform to make sure we provide an end-to-end view of it. So it's Defender, Purview, Intune, Sentinel, and Entra. And all of that is powered by our industry-leading threat signals. So we process about 100 trillion signals a day. And we had a choice to make, which was that do we build new products to secure AI workloads, or do we extend our existing products to take on that workload? And overwhelmingly, we heard from you all that please don't build the new stuff, just extend what we're used to using. And so that's been our approach, is we're going to extend the platform with purpose-built capabilities to secure AI and agents. One of the things that has been new over the last year or so is what I'll say the rise of agents. So about a year and a half ago, everyone was talking about co-pilots. About a year ago, the conversation shifted to agents. And it turns out that all the work we've been doing over the years around identity and access with users, a lot of that applies to agents. And so the team was able to pivot quite quickly and apply all the identity and access functionality we've been building in Entra towards agents. So let's dive into this. So we'll start with Agent 365. So as you saw in the keynote, the key insight was that the way to manage agents is to extend the infrastructure that you trust for managing users. So that today is Entra for identity and access. Agent 365 is the control plane for agents, and it includes these 5 core areas of capabilities. So the first is the registry. One unified registry powered by Entra. You've got to have visibility into which agents you have in your organization. Then we have access control. So being able to extend conditional access that you have for users, extending those policies for agents as well. If you saw the keynote, you would have seen in the demo, we've got this really great visualization that shows you how are my different agents across platforms interacting with each other, where are the dependencies, where's data being sent back and forth. And then the last but not least, which is what we're here to talk about, really are the security capabilities. And so taking a lot of Defender, Purview, and Entra capabilities we've been building for Gen AI apps and co-pilots over the last couple of years, applying that to agents is a core piece of this. From the security side, this notion of agent lifecycle management, visibility into sensitive data that the agents are accessing, being able to block the exfiltration of sensitive data that it happens, and then on the compliance side, being able to audit the agent's interactions. And then the last one has to do with both posture management and threat protections. If attackers trying to get in or trying to manipulate the agents, being able to detect that in real time as well as block it. So let's shift our gears to developers for a second. AI developers are expected to take greater responsibility for AI safety and security. You also want to be able to catch those vulnerabilities early in the cycle. So the earlier you can catch it before you get to deployment, the higher cost savings you can have. And then once you've deployed it, you want to have constant runtime monitoring. And then if you pick up issues during runtime, you want to be able to send those signals back to the developer so that they can fix it at the root. So the key thing we're doing there is what we call the Foundry control plane. So the Foundry control plane is where the developer gets that end-to-end observability into the agent fleet. It's going to have controls for safety as well as security. And as I mentioned earlier, it's the same security primitives from Entra, from Defender, from Purview. So on the security side of the house, what we're seeing is you've got the board of a company asking the CEO, what is your AI transformation strategy? The CIOs and CISOs, their job is to be enablers and not blockers. But for them to be enablers and not blockers, they have to kind of figure out what does the risk profile look like. So one of the things we're doing is to say, okay, to give you that holistic view of risk, we're going to build what we call this security dashboard for AI. The security dashboard for AI is going to give you this unified visibility into your risk. It's getting signals from Defender, it's getting signals from Purview, it's getting signals from Entra, and it's also going to get signals from other places like Foundry and other platforms that you might have. One of the key use cases here is going to be giving these risk leaders and CISOs the ability to report back to their boards, to their auditors on the AI risk and how they're managing controls around it in their organization. So I touched on these 4 things. We're going to double click and go deeper now on each of these. So let's start with agent sprawl. And so to support all of those needs, we're introducing Entra Agent Identity. Entra Agent Identity includes the registry, as I mentioned, and includes the ability to govern the life cycle of it, and then protect access to resources through extending conditional access. So this is a big thing. We released the initial set of capabilities earlier this year, and today we're going to release the full set of capabilities. And that's one of the core things that's going to power Agent 365. Next up is data oversharing and data leaks. Now, this one has been around for a while, and to solve all of that, we've been shipping for a while now in Microsoft Purview, not just visibility into the apps, into the data, sensitive data in your organization, but being able to look at the sensitive data in the prompts and responses. And now we're extending that to agents as well. Next up, shadow AI, threats, and vulnerabilities. We're extending a lot of the Defender protections we've had for AI to agents. So again, on the threat protection side, on the posture management side, as well as the investigation side. Okay, last but not least, we're getting to the end of this, is regulatory compliance. We have been shipping again in the product capabilities to support compliance. So we have what's called the compliance manager in Purview. We've been doing things like audit and e-discovery in the product for a while, and then communication compliance around being able to detect policy violations. And so what we're introducing at Ignite is this idea of the AI-powered regulatory templates. Well, it turns out that large language models are really good at reading regulations because it's a just giant list of text, and then parsing it out and saying, okay, based on these regulations, I'm going to give you a map of the actions you need to take, and I'm going to map those actions to the specific controls that you need to implement. So just to wrap it up, we talked about these 4 key challenges: agent sprawl and resource access, data oversharing and leaks, shadow AI, threats and vulnerabilities, regulatory and compliance. And do it for copilots and agents, do it for custom-built apps that you would do on Foundry or other platforms, and then as well as the actual foundational models themselves and the cloud infrastructure. You know, we've been working hard against GenAI apps in the past. This Ignite's been all about agents. But hopefully that gave you a good end-to-end view of all of it. Thank you for the time.